So it's once again the season for hot chocolate and gifts and what everyone's heart desires for these festive times. Yes, winter, and with that Christmas is knocking at our doors, and 'tis the season, it also is the time of gifting Christmas cards. To ones we forgot to get gifts for, or the ones that we didn't want to give a gift to, or to those relatives that live far enough away so that a card suffices. Though, am I the only one that believes that we've seen too many typical jolly and happy Christmas cards? I realize that there are in fact darker and not as jolly card designs out there, yet they usually aren't my style. So, what do I do about it? I designed them myself. So, welcome back, and let's design some unconventional Christmas greeting cards that you wouldn't usually see that often in common stores. So, for this first one, whilst I need to admit, it isn't the first card I designed, it is in fact the very last. But it also was the quickest and most simple design, so I have decided to show this one first. The card references the typical Christmas cards with candles, either it be on a wreath or on a shamash, for example. Contrary to those, I decided to only feature a singular, like me, candle from which a person is emerging with a healthy heaping of struggle and fear. The candle is also blown out, leaving behind some smoke. I usually like to inject a psychological and deeper theme into my designs, so one could interpret that not everyone lights candles in celebration, yet rather for mourning or reaching for one's last flicker of hope. Yet, the weight and pressure suffocates them and makes it difficult to reach out and escape from the created prison. Now, this is very far-fetched and haphazardly thought out idea, and at the end of the day, I just got the idea of drawing someone merging with a candle and I wanted to present that. I also feel it's important to show and tell myself that it's okay if a few of my designs do not have deeper symbolism or meaning. This card helps me do that, and I still like the final design. Though I did slowly burn out towards the end, which is why it isn't the most conceptual and why I might have decided that the candle needed to be put out. I also decided against the flames burning from the figure's eyes due to its lack of coherency to the rest of the design. A consistent trend you'll be seeing throughout the 4 cards today is the font and the words I decided to universally share in all 4 designs. It might have been more interactive if I thought of unique and personalized headings for each card, matching the theme the card displays. Yet, I wanted this also to be a collection of cards, so I went with the same message in the same font. This creates coherency between the different cards, and in some cases, it also makes it clear that these are indeed Christmas greeting cards. For this one, for example, only having the candle and the figure emerging, one could come to several and more evidently diverse conclusions on what the card is created for. The second card I tackled was a quite simple and quick design. Composition and size fluctuated quite a lot when it comes to these ideas. One thing that did remain consistent was the tones and undertones and hues I wanted to emphasize and focus on. Whilst I tend to sway towards more warmer and reddish tones and hues when it comes to my illustrations and designs, it's a hue I can just work with quite easily and efficiently. It also carries and holds a certain vibe and atmosphere that I enjoy and heavily rely on to add deeper and more meaningful effect to my illustration. To challenge myself, as one does when he decides to lean into the creative and artistic direction in one's life, I wanted to exclusively use colder and bluish tones across the entirety of the design. Winter is approaching and in some places already knocking at one's door, and with winter there is also the either loved or dreaded temperature that makes one shiver. I say either love or hate due to its duality when it comes to its overall effects. One specific point when I'm asked if I'd rather spend a year or even my entire life in summer or winter, I always decide on winter at the end of the day. Winter is not only connected to incredible, jolly, and heartwarming holidays and festivals, such as Christmas itself, but it also changes nature so fundamentally that it's interesting to my eye and vision. The white of the snow covering the colors of asphalt and greenery makes the world seem like one big canvas ready to be repainted once more. Now, granted, winter and snow doesn't necessarily come in a duo. In some places, specifically around and near the equator on the globe, snow might take its leave either quicker or decide to take a holiday itself. Though, where I live, and the places displayed in movies, series, and social media are graced with the duality, and it becomes a norm amongst many. Besides, one could also argue that whilst in heat you can in fact take off clothing, you reach a limit at some point where no clothing just isn't an option, considering laws and integrity as well as respect for others. Whilst in the cold, you can always layer and layer. Not only can you always add to it, but it also allows for more outfit dynamics and variations. So if it ever comes down to it, which it probably won't, winter is more probably to be chosen by the likes of me. Yet I can't hate on summer too much, as it is also quite beneficial and has its beneficial components and features that winter does not. My birthday, for example, is also in the middle of summer, so I have always enjoyed the summer heat and possible swimming options when it comes to my birthday activities, and on top of that, the incredibly long holiday we are granted. Now this card focuses on the idea and design featuring ice cream, snowmans, and or ice skating. Basically every and anything related to cold, snow, and ice. My twist on this idea is that instead of someone freely skating or a snowman occupying 1/3 of the card's surfaces, one is trapped within the ice. It seems this is a common theme throughout my two cards, figures stuck in a vaguely Christmas-related substance. This card doesn't really have a metaphorical meaning to it. I was referencing Ophelia, which if I'm not mistaken portrays a woman in a river with flowers who supposedly died due to hypothermia and thus created controversy for its painting and artist. Instead of spring and summery atmosphere, we have a cold and wintry one going on in our design. I also wanted several excuses to draw faces and hone my skills in drawing faces. So I decided to draw 4 cards, each with one face on it. The third card, similarly to the second, leans into another and different color scheme, centering all around the colors of nature, thus the color green. I mixed quite a lot of brown into it, though I hide green tones beneath. The idea for this design is quite unusual when it comes to Christmas related greeting cards, as there is no lights, no snow, and no Christmassy living room display. This card plays on the idea of Christmas trees, typically colorful, decorated, centered on the card's surface. I want to establish a new view and almost deconstruct the image as far to a point to where one might almost be confused and would need a minute or two to realize what is in front of them. In my design, we have a zoom in on the act of cutting one's tree down to later display in one's living room. The zoom focuses on the cutting of the stump. This idea allows for a more active and dynamic composition and vibe, and also allows for a more interesting card compared to stereotypical designs. I also wanted to attempt to draw and illustrate wood and bark for once, due to my lack of skills in previous times and drawings. The perspective and thus foreshortening of the swinging axe, the falling tree, gave me quite the struggle, but also taught me a lot. Originally, the card only contained the axe and the tree stump, yet I felt the image was still too empty, so I added a dainty figure sitting on top of the axe, wrapped in white ribbon. This also references the gifts often displayed beneath the tree, and further reflects the idea of gifting oneself and dignity to people we might want to cut off, or in this case, chop off. The pressure of Christmas and giving gifts even to people you might not like as much really weighs down on a lot of people, and I've seen it especially with my friends who always pressure themselves to still give gifts to people they wanted to cut off a long time ago. Now, lastly, we've arrived, in my eyes, at the most effective and conceptual card that was, in fact, a spur-of-the-moment idea and the first card I created. It just developed into, in my humble opinion, an interesting and eye-catching design over time. This goes for many of my illustrations. I decided on a simple idea and concept and just see where the mistakes, trials, and tribulations take me and the drawing. This also reflected in the metaphorical idea and concept of this card. One shows and exposes their inner self, either it be good or bad, or easy or painful. The card depicts a woman's back slowly being stretched apart to reveal the skeleton hidden beneath. Where are the organs, one might wonder. I just decided they'd be too distracting, so I discarded them entirely, and I do think it did help with the picture itself. The hole in the figure's back is stretched apart into different directions by gift strings, on which little name tags have also been hung from. One special thing about this card I wanted to lastly emphasize on was the hair, which dissolves via hatching into the background, allowing the font to shine through and still make the letters that are partially hidden readable. Now, as mentioned in the previous card, there's a lot of pressure and I think social norms to give gifts to anyone and everyone because it's the time of giving, it's the time of forgiving, and you feel the need to, even to the people who have hurt you, still be nice and still give them something they can be happy with. And this picture, or this design, I should rather say, really embodies that. Oftentimes as well, gifts can also be very revealing. Reactions can be very revealing. So with this back being pulled open by these strings of gifts with different name tags, one could argue that this picture is trying to convey the message that with every person who gives a gift or receives a gift by you, gets a piece of you and reveals the person that is hidden beneath. The person, either be good or bad, happy or sad, is pulled to the surface and shown to everyone. It's the skeleton and the foundation everyone is built upon. So, I'll stop talking for now and I'll catch you in the end. So, these are my 4 final greeting cards, and I hope you've enjoyed and liked the designs I made today. Don't let the cold get to you, always wrap yourself in a lot of layers, we love layers, just like an onion, just like Shrek. And, enjoy the snow whilst we have it. And if you don't have snow, enjoy the general vibes this time gives off. So I'll see you next time. Bye bye.